Good morning. Welcome to our gentle yoga class this morning. And my name is Mickey, of course, you know. You can find yourself either in a comfortable seat or you might come to lie on your back. That's my preferred way to start class. But I'll take a seat. Hopefully, if you have some props handy, blocks could be helpful, strap, blanket maybe, pillow, a chair, anything that you can use to recruit support. And then feel free to come to any kind of comfortable position. I'm going to start out seated, but you're welcome to come onto your back. And just know that this is your very own practice. So as you arrive, you might take a nice, generous sigh out through the mouth, letting go of anything that's no longer serving you. And since this is your own practice, I invite you during class to do whatever serves you best. As you begin to arrive, you might soften your eyelids, relax the hinge of your jaw, and then just notice, begin to observe the fluctuations of the mind. Maybe just like a sheepdog herds sheep, you might think about herding your own thoughts with maybe a gracefulness. And then think about if there is a specific intention for class that you would like to cultivate. In this series, we're actually at the very end of the yamas and the niyamas. And the very last niyama is called Ishvara Pranidhana. And it means surrender. I have a short quote from the book by Deborah Adele. We can be so busy feeling cheated or victimized when life doesn't go the way we want it to, that we often miss a new opportunity life is offering us in the moment. Ishvara Pranidhana, the jewel of surrender, presupposes that there is a divine force at work in our lives. Whether we call it God, grace, providence, or life, this force is greater than we are and cares deeply about us. Surrender invites us to be active participants in our life, totally present and fluid with each moment, while appreciating the magnitude and the mystery of what we are participating in. This guideline invites us to surrender our egos, open our hearts, and accept the higher purpose of our being. See if you'd like to work with that intention or another intention that would serve you best today. And then if you're seated, we'll all meet up on our backs, and you might grab a block and strap and find your way onto your back. From here, you can open your feet or walk your feet as wide as the mat. I'm just setting all the props nearby. You can walk your feet as wide as the mat. Allow your knees to float over to the right, any amount. Maybe turn your gaze to the left. And then we'll inhale, bring the nose and knees back up to neutral. And then exhale, find the other side. So just turning your gaze away from your knees. Feel free to find that movement, that fluidity, a little bit side to side. Just sensing that small curve and twist of the spine. Allowing yourself to practice here the idea of surrender by just relaxing into the floor. You might feel that hug of gravity starting to cultivate awe and wonder, this force that is even bigger than us. Almost as a nice big hug from the universe. You might feel the pull of gravity, and then find your neutral once more. We'll stretch the arms up overhead, reaching past the ears. You can grow the fingers wide, spreading the palms of your hands, and then maybe you start to make fists with the fingers and rotate through the wrists, making little circles. Take one more nice deep breath here, and then we'll pause that action. You can walk the heels in towards the sit bones, reaching the knees up towards the ceiling. On the next exhale, we'll go ahead and bring the arms down towards the hips. Press the palms into the earth, and then we'll inhale to lift the hips any amount into a bridge. On the next exhale, you can lower the hips back down, and we'll inhale, swim the arms up and overhead, reach them past the ears, growing long through the spine. And then exhale, we'll swim the hands back down, press into the earth. Inhale to lift the hips up into your bridge. So you can keep going like this, alternating arms and hips. Allow your breath to find any areas of sensation in the body. Maybe try not to label the sensations as good or bad. Just allow yourself to find curiosity and compassion. Take one more nice deep breath on each action. So with the arms and the hips, and we'll complete one more. And then as you come into your last bridge, you can hold your bridge either as an active bridge, or you might take your block and slide it underneath your low back. That's your sacrum area, coming into a supported bridge. And either way, feel free to tune into your breath, and you might do a little bit of each. If you find yourself in the supportive bridge and you want to make it a little bit more active, you might take a nice deep breath to press up and hold for a few rounds of breath. You could also find a bind here. So you might walk the shoulders underneath the body, reaching the hands back behind you, and maybe interlacing the palms, interlacing the fingers really underneath your low back. If you're in your supported bridge, maybe you turn this into a gentle inversion. So with your low back, either it could even just be on the mat. You don't have to have it on a block. You might extend one leg up towards the sky, and then maybe the other one And maybe you allow yourself to gently gaze up at your feet, giving your ankles an opportunity to rotate in either direction. Noticing the little snap, crackle pops, allowing yourself to lubricate the ankle joints through movement. And then when you're ready, we'll come out of this so you can land both feet back on the mat, press into the heels to lift the hips, slide the block out from underneath you, and we'll toss that block off to the side for now. Go ahead and press into the heels and lift the hips a little bit, and then we'll gently rock the hips a little side to side, like you're swinging a little hammock of your pelvis. And then the next time the pelvis moves to the right, you can set the pelvis down there, lift the knees into the chest, and then allow them to float over to the left. So you're going to find a twist now, opening the arms out into a letter T. Feel free to stay right here, or you might turn your gaze over towards your right fingertips, finding a little bit of rotation for the neck. Allow your shoulders to melt heavy and see if you can relax the hinge of your jaw. Take one more nice deep breath in this twist. And then we're going to roll all the way onto our left side. So you can start to sweep the right hand up and over the body. Reach it past the left fingertips. And then you can float your left arm up so that maybe you come to lay on your side body, supporting your hand on your head, or you could rest it on your bicep, or you could even use that block. Mine was a little bit out of reach to bring your head onto the block. We're going to do some strengthening for our hips now. So you might start to just give your hip a little bit of love and attention by rubbing the hip, just starting to locate where those muscles are, and we'll glue the heels together. Inhale to lift the top knee, exhale to lower. Go ahead and take a few rounds of breath like this. You could also bring that top hand out in front of you to provide an anchor of support. Allow the breath to swirl around the hip, breathing into sensations. We'll take one more nice deep breath here. And then once more, you could bring your fist maybe this time to your hip and just give it a little massage. You might slide the knees back and then bring that top knee down in front just to stretch through the glutes. And you could continue with this little massage, or you might lean the top shoulder back, finding a twist, cradling your head, maybe in your hand. And then I like this move, but feel free to skip it. This is a little bit of a bind. Maybe your top hand wants to reach around and grab for your bottom foot. And I call this one cat chasing its tail. Take one more nice deep breath. And then maybe you give one of your toes a little squeeze, letting go of the foot. We'll roll back onto the back. Hug the knees into the chest and find a little circular motion with the knees just to massage the low back. You might observe any differences from left to right. And then we'll release the knees. We're going to find that same movement on the other side. So from here, you can press into your heels, lift your hips, and allow your pelvis to gently rock from side to side. And then when you're ready, you can rock the pelvis over to the left. Allow the knees to float over to the right, and then find this nice big twist. Opening the arms out into a letter T, and maybe turning your gaze to the left. Sending your breath into any areas of sensation. Maybe you feel a nice gentle stretch through the neck, upper back. Imagining wringing out any excess, anything that no longer serves you, and then practicing that surrender. Take one more nice deep breath here. And then when you're ready, we'll float the left arm up and overhead. Reach it past the right fingertips. And then we'll glide it back so that we're on our right side. And this is where you could either prop your head on. Now I have my block handy, so I could prop my head on the block or on my arm. And then we'll find that same movement here for the hips. So we're just going to warm up through the hips. You can give your hip a little love, sensing into the muscles there, and then press the heels together. Inhale to lift the top knee, exhale to lower. Find a few rounds of breath. Breathing into the hip with your clamshell. Allow your breath and gratitude to swirl around the hip joint, feeling the muscles working to help lift and lower. When you feel the time is right, you can pause this movement. We'll slide the knees back, give a little love to the hip with your fist, and then maybe you bring that knee down in front. Here's where you can also introduce a twist. So you might bring maybe your top hand to your shoulder, allow the shoulder to sink back, and maybe you reach down and find the bottom foot. If that feels comfortable. And I'm just slowly inching that block back to create support for my head. Allow yourself to soften here, experiencing the surrender. And we'll take one more nice deep breath. Maybe you give one of the toes a little squeeze, a loving squeeze, and then release the foot. We'll come out of the twist, rolling onto the back. And then once more, you can hug the knees into the chest. This time you might find a happy baby. So maybe you spread the knees open wide. You could hook behind your thighs or walk your hands up maybe onto your shins, your ankles, or perhaps you grab hold of the feet. And then you might gently rock a little side to side, maybe landing on one knee, extending the opposite leg long. Just find some playfulness in your happy baby. Noticing any sensations. I'm like, wow, I took a yoga class yesterday and my inner thighs are quite sore. So anything you can notice. And then maybe you can allow a gentle smile to wash across the face for Ananda Balasana, happy baby. Take one more nice deep breath here. And then when you're ready, we'll release the feet. Bring the knees to stack over the hips. So you're kind of in an upside down tabletop. And then we'll bend the elbows to stack over the shoulders. And you can see yourself almost in this little bit of a dead bug position. You might notice the strength from your belly button, your core, what is required to keep this position. And then maybe you want to find a little bit of movement on your inhale. You might stretch your left heel up towards the sky, stretch your right fingertips up towards the sky. And then as you exhale, bring them back to neutral, the starting position. Inhale, opposite foot in hand, stretch up. Exhale, bring them back down. Go ahead and find a few rounds like this. Noticing if you can draw your belly button in towards your spine, pressing your low back towards the mat. After a few breaths, you might notice a little bit of trembling. Let's take one more nice deep breath on each side. And then when you're ready, you can land the feet, stretch the arms overhead, stretch the legs long. Find a nice long body stretch from your fingertips down to your heels. You might reach the right arm long away from the left heel, and then try the other side. And then when you're ready, you can plant your feet on the mat. You might hug the knees into the chest to rock and roll up and down the length of the spine, or you can press into the heels, slide the hips to the left, roll onto your right side, and then press yourself up into a seat. We'll just take a moment to find a comfortable seat. So maybe elevating the hips could help. So you could sit on a blanket or even a pillow or bolster. Anything to bring the hips a little bit above the knees can sometimes help lengthen through the spine. Once you find your comfortable seat, take a moment to pause, maybe closing down the eyes or softening the gaze. See about lengthening the spine, growing the crown of the head up towards the heavens. And then on the next exhale, you can bow just your head towards your heart. On your next inhale, we'll bring the right ear towards the right shoulder. And then exhale, bow once more. Inhale brings the left ear towards the left shoulder, melting the right shoulder away from the ear. And maybe you want to try that two more times, just moving gently, gracefully with your own breath. Allowing yourself to soften. The next time you come back to center, allow your head to hang heavy for a moment. You might interlace your fingers and just allow the weight of your hands to rest on the top of your head. And then we'll inhale, press your head into your hands as you grow up taller with your elbows pointing up to either sides, either corners of the room. On the next inhale, let's twist to the left, just peeking to the left. And then as you exhale, come back to center. Inhale, we'll peek over to the right. And exhale brings you back to center. Maybe this feels good and you want to try it 2 more times gracefully on each side. Pressing your head into your hands for support. The next time you come back to center, we'll press the palms of the hands up and then inhale as you sweep the arms open, or exhale, whatever makes sense to you. You can either stay seated for cat and cow, so that's going to be moving the spine forward and back and maybe in some circular movements. So that would look like pressing your palms into your shins. Inhale, lifting the heart forward. Exhale, rounding the spine back. So you can feel free to do this seated, or if you prefer, go ahead and come onto hands and knees. And you can try your cat-cow there, maybe unfolding the blanket to make extra padding for the underneath the knees. So I just have to straighten out my blanket a little bit and give it a nice fold so there's no creases. And that can be a nice little pillow for underneath your knees. You could also bring your hands or your forearms onto blocks to sort of help support if you don't want to be on the palms, if you want to give the wrists a break. So we'll inhale to lower the belly for cow pose. Exhale to round into the spine for cat. Go ahead and find a few rounds of cat and cow, following the pace of your own breath. Could be fun to press forward into your cow and then move the spine back for your cat. Allow yourself to find whatever sort of creative movements would serve you here. After a few rounds of cat and cow, you might allow yourself the opportunity to just explore any kind of movements that would feel good in your body. Maybe a nice big circle with the belly button, tracing the inside of a hula hoop. Allowing yourself that time to slowly explore. And if you're drawing a circle in one direction, allow yourself to move in the opposite direction whenever you're ready. You might find a place that needs extra attention. Just allow yourself to pause there, maybe for a whole round of breath. And when you're feeling ready, you can find whatever resting position that would feel good to you. If you want to be off of the knees, sometimes it could be nice to move into down dog, or you can feel free to find a child's pose. Stretching the arms forward, maybe allowing the torso to Hold down onto the mat, opening the knees out wide, bringing the big toes to touch. If in your child's pose you want to find a little side bend, you could walk the arms to the left. Maybe bring the left forearm underneath the forehead and reach the right hand across to the left, allowing your breath to cascade down the right side of the body. You might really allow your forehead to rest heavy on your forearm. Maybe the forearm is feeling a little sense of massage from the weight of the head. When you're ready, we'll come back to center. Take your time, and then if you'd like to try the other side, you could bend the right forearm, rest it underneath the forehead, and then reach the left arm over to the right. Allow the weight of your head to rest heavy on your forearm, maybe gently allowing your head to rock a little side to side, offering your forearm a gentle massage. Feel the breath cascading down the left side of the body. And then we'll come back to center. When you're ready, you can press up into a tabletop, and we're going to get ready for thread the needle. So, some things that could be helpful would be like a pillow or a block if you feel like your head doesn't want to make it all the way down to the ground. For thread the needle, I like to give myself a little bit more space by opening the knees out wide, and we'll press the right hand into the mat, or it could even be underneath the face. So you could kind of bring the right hand more center. And then maybe you reach the left arm either out to the side, or you could pivot it up towards the sky, opening through the chest. On the next exhale, we'll swim that hand underneath the body. And this is the thread the needle part where you can bring the arm under, and then you could lower your temple down to the mat. Or maybe if it feels like the mat is too far away, you could bring a pillow for underneath the forehead or the temple. I'm on the left temple. Kind of turning the gaze to the right, almost peeking underneath that right armpit. Take a moment to observe the sensations in the body, breathing into the upper back, the space underneath the shoulder blade. We'll take one more nice deep breath here. And then you can press back up into your tabletop. Maybe you want to find a few cat and cows here before we get ready for the other side. And then when you're ready for the other side, you can plant your right palm. We'll sweep, or sorry, that's your left palm. Sweep the right hand either out to the side or rotate the torso so that you can reach the fingertips up, maybe gazing up. On your next exhale, we'll slide the right arm under the body, coming into thread the needle, maybe allowing your right temple to rest on a pillow or a block. And you can really anchor your weight a little bit providing some support with your left hand, allowing your right fingertips to reach through. Find that space right behind the shoulder blade. Breathe into those areas of sensation. We'll take one more nice deep breath here. Press into your support, and we'll come back up into our tabletop position. Bring the knees back underneath the hips now, and you might tuck the toes under and press up to downward facing dog. And you can always skip down dog if you would like. You might take a moment to pedal the heels, sashay the hips a little bit side to side, and an alternate pose to downward dog would be dolphin, and this would allow you to not be on the wrists. So if you want to try dolphin, you might bring your hands almost into a tripod position, meaning just like a triangle. So I'm going to interlace the fingers, or you can press your palms on the mat and keep the forearms parallel, or you can bring them together for support, and then you can tuck the toes under just like we do in downward dog. Lift the knees, lift the hips up and back, and then you might find this dolphin pose instead. You could always go back and forth, and remember that we can use the blocks for support in down dog too. That can make it a little bit gentler, or the chair. My thought here from either your down dog or your dolphin pose is to maybe just play around with floating in between plank and your down dog. So inhale, you might come forward to a plank. Exhale, come back to down dog. And you could do the same thing in the dolphin, but it's going to be more of a forearm plank. And you could even do it just all on your knees. So maybe you're coming forward into like a plank and then bringing the hips back. Whenever you're ready, we're going to make our way onto our bellies. So if you need to get rid of that blanket, it's kind of okay for me right now underneath. But, if it feels like it's too much, you can always scooch it off to the side. Let's come into Sphinx pose. So you can stack your elbows underneath your shoulders, press your palms into the mat, and lift the heart through as you traction the forearms back. So you're almost like gliding the hands back if you want a little bit of traction. On the next exhale, we'll go ahead and stack the palms, lower your forehead down to the back of your hands for crocodile pose, Makrasana. Maybe it would feel good here to bend the heels, bend the knees and allow the heels to gently windshield wiper from side to side. Allow yourself a moment to delight in a time of rest. And I realize I don't really like the blanket under me, so I'm going to take my own advice and move it off to the side. From here, we'll inhale to lift the heart, lift the forehead, bring the palms of the hands either underneath the shoulders or down towards the rib cage. And then you can inhale, roll the shoulders up as you lift the heart into a baby cobra, shining the heart forward. On the next exhale, go ahead and turn the gaze to the left, lowering the right temple to the mat. Take a moment to pause here, and then we'll inhale. Roll the shoulders up and back, lifting the heart into your baby cobra. And then exhale, turn the gaze to the right, soften the left temple down towards the mat. You can release the hands, allow the hands to rest by your hips. And just take a moment to once more soften here. On the next exhale, we're going to get ready to float into our locust pose. So take a nice deep inhale now. Lift the heart, lift the chest, float the arms and maybe the legs. And you're going to come into a flying superhero position. Take some nice deep breaths. And then we'll bring the hands underneath the shoulders. You can tuck the toes under and either press up through a table or plank, and then either find yourself in child's pose or downward dog. We are going to make our way up to standing. So you might find a tabletop position if you want to skip downward dog, and then step your left foot up to meet your left hand, and then tuck your right toes under, lift the right knee, and then step the right knee forward to find a forward fold. You can either dangle your hands in front of you, or maybe you rest them on blocks, or you could grab hold of your opposite elbows and just allow yourself a moment to hang heavy. Feeling the stretch all along the back side of the body, from the heels, up the back of the legs, down the back to the crown of the head. Maybe you sway here a little side to side. And then we'll find stillness. Press the palms onto the shins, the chair, or the blocks, and we'll lift up halfway, lengthening the spine long. And then exhale, allow the heart to melt forward into your forward fold. Go ahead and find that 2 more times. Inhale, we call this Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhale into Uttanasana, forward fold. One more time, just like this. Inhale, lengthen through the spine. Exhale, let it all go. And then we'll inhale, find the strength of your legs, almost like they're spring-loaded. You can sweep the arms out, press strongly into your legs to press yourself up to stand. And you might sweep the arms up towards the sky and then exhale, draw them into your heart center. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, big salute to the sun. Bring in all the goodness, the joy into your heart center. Inhale once more, sweep the arms up and around, and exhale as you draw into the heart. Take a moment to pause in your mountain pose. You might bring your hands for a moment to rest on your heart. And just feel the rhythm of your heartbeat. We'll take a moment to blink the eyes open, and then we're going to set up for our warrior 2. So we'll bring the right foot forward, step the left foot back, and then you can find any amount of distance between the legs that allows you to find a deep bend in the front knee or any kind of bend. It doesn't have to be a deep bend, actually, as deep as you would like to go. And then you can bring your hands to your hips, open your torso to the long edge of your mat, and then you might float your arms forward and back to find warrior two. Feel your body weight sink into center, allowing your torso to float over the strength of your legs. And then we'll inhale, rest the back hand on your back thigh, flip the front palm, and reach the hand up towards the sky. We call this one Peaceful Warrior. And then on your next exhale, we'll come back into Warrior Two. Inhale, flip your front palm and then start to lean over. So you might allow your forearm to rest on your front thigh. You can swing that back hand either up onto your hip or float it over your ear. Take another nice deep breath here. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale, coming back to Warrior Two. Now we're going to try triangle pose. This one is called Trikonasana Triangle. So from here, you can lengthen the front legs. You're not locking the knee though. Have a small micro bend, but it's mostly lengthened. So you're not in the lunge anymore. And then we'll start to shift the hips back as you reach the front hand forward. And then that hand could land on your thigh while the other hand comes up towards the sky. And you could sink it down with traction. You could also grab a block to support your hand. I have the block on the outside of my foot, and maybe that allows you to turn your gaze up, coming into triangle. On the next exhale, we're going to float that hand down and then bring both hands to the ground or to blocks. Pivot so that you're on the ball now of the back foot. So you no longer the whole foot is down. And you might just floss here a little bit front to back in your lunge. And then we'll start to just maybe bounce the back foot off of the ground. And then you can step it up to meet your front foot. Find a forward fold. Maybe you walk your feet a little bit wider. Ragdoll once more. And then when you're ready, we'll press into your legs or the blocks to inhale, lifting up halfway. Exhale to melt the heart, forward fold. Go ahead and take 2 more rounds, inhaling for halfway lift, exhaling to forward fold. And one more time. The next time you come into a forward fold, go ahead and find that strength of your legs, the buoyancy to press yourself up to stand. We'll inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale to draw them into the heart center. Go ahead and find that movement 2 more times. Inhale to sweep the arms up. Exhale to draw your hands into your heart. That last time, you can allow your hands to rest on your heart center. Feel the beating of your unique heart. And then sense into the soles of your feet. Feel the width of your feet. grounding you down. Then we'll blink the eyes open. We're going to get ready for that same sequence on the other side. So I'm going to bring my blocks to the front and I will face you. So we're going to step this time the left foot forward, right foot back, coming into our warrior two stance. So you can bend into that front knee any amount. Find that your torso is sort of angled towards the long side of your mat. You can bring your hands to your hips if you like, and then you might stretch your fingertips forward and back, finding your gaze over your front fingertips. Feel your connection behind you to your past. Feel gratitude for everything that's brought you here to this point. Feel yourself rooted, grounded in center with your gaze softly out towards your future. We'll flip the front palm and reverse our warrior, coming into peaceful warrior, reaching the fingertips up towards the sky, extending your hand down your back leg. And then when you're ready, we'll find warrior two. And then you can flip the front palm, lean over towards that front thigh to rest there, your forearm, for extended side angle. Take a nice deep breath. And then when you're ready, we'll come back into our warrior two and get ready for triangle pose, Trikonasana. So we'll extend the front leg long, start to allow your hip to kind of come back as you reach forward, and then you can bring your hand onto your thigh, slide it down the inseam of your leg, or find a block here for support. And this might be nice because you could lift your gaze up towards the sky if that feels okay, balance-wise. Take some nice deep breaths. Notice where you can soften, even relaxing some effort. When you're ready, we'll turn the gaze down towards the ground, close the hand so you can find both blocks, and then hop that foot over so that you're in a bit of a high lunge. And you could gently rock a little bit front to back. Maybe you start to hop that foot and then hop it forward to find your forward fold. Go ahead and press into your blocks. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. 2 more times. Inhaling for halfway lift. Exhaling to forward fold. And one last time. Take one more nice deep breath in your forward fold, and then you can make your way onto either hands and knees or downward dog. Eventually, we are going to be coming onto our seat. So you could step your feet back, plant your hands on blocks or the mat. And then if you're in your downward dog, you might bend the knees, allow them to gently hover over the mat for a moment, and then allow them to softly land. We'll walk the knees forward and then come onto our seat, swinging the feet around. You can find the center of your mat and then either bring your hands onto your knees, float your hands out, or bring them behind your thighs for boat pose, Navasana. So keeping the heart light and buoyant, keeping length through the spine. You could try lifting one shin, the other shin, or both, or maybe do this with feet down. Take one more nice deep breath. And whenever you're ready, you can pull your knees in towards your chest, roll onto your back, and give yourself a little back massage here. Either hugging the knees in or maybe happy baby pose. Once you find your way onto your back and you give yourself a little hug, you could go ahead and reach for your strap if you have one. You don't have to use a strap. I actually like this extra long strap for this particular pose because I like to wrap the strap behind my back so that I don't have to hold on to the strap. But I'm going to have my strap in a nice big loop, and then you can wrap the strap either with it tucked behind your body or just holding on to the reins of the side of the strap here. So we're coming onto our back like this with one leg up. I'm starting with the right leg, reaching that leg up towards the sky, and then maybe holding on to the strap with the hands, reaching for the foot, or you might slide the hands down the strap so that your elbows can rest on the earth. With your left leg, you can either keep the foot on the mat, or you might reach your left leg up towards the sky and then gently allow the left leg to come all the way down to the mat, if that feels okay. Take some nice deep breaths here. Coming into Supta Padangusthasana. It's like a hand to foot pose if you're reaching your hand towards your foot. And you could also do this without a strap, just holding on to the leg, either gripping your pant legs, or interlacing your hands behind your right thigh. We'll take one more nice deep breath here, and then if you like, you could slide your right leg out to the right any amount to stretch through the inseam of the right leg. And maybe you bring the reins of the strap both into your right hand. One more nice deep breath here. And then on your next inhale, you can float the leg back up to center. And then we'll just find a little bit of stretch for the outside seam of the leg. So you can bring the right foot to cross the midline, but you can leave your whole back body rooted on the mat. You might bring the reins of the strap now into the left hand. We're finding that edge along the outside of your right leg. Let's take one more nice deep breath here. And we'll bring the leg back to center. You can stretch both legs long on your mat. And just take a moment to observe the differences from left to right. And then we'll get ready for the other side. So any adjustments you'd like to make, I think I'm going to try making my strap a little longer on this side. So you can stretch the ball of your foot up into your strap, or you have those other options of holding on to the leg You could keep your right foot on the mat. That's going to make it a little more gentle. Or we could do that same action we did on the other side. Maybe you stretch both legs up long towards the sky and then allow the right leg to softly find the mat. If you find that your thoughts begin to wander, maybe bring your awareness back into the body, into sensations. We'll take another nice deep breath right here. And then when you feel ready, you can slide the left leg open to the left any amount. You might grab hold of the strap with your left hand and allow your breath to sweep down the inseam of your left leg. Take one more nice deep breath here. And when you're ready, we'll float the leg back up towards the sky. Transfer the strap into your right hand and allow the left leg to just gently cross the midline. Not coming into a twist, allowing your whole back body and your hips to root down, just finding the edge all along the outside of your right leg. We'll take one more nice deep breath here. And then when you're ready, you can bring the leg back up to center, release the foot from the strap, stretch both legs long, and then take a moment to pause and notice. Maybe there's a flood of sensation as the circulation finds its way back into the leg, noticing the aliveness that you might feel. And then I like to leave a little bit of time before your final rest for any choice poses that you would like to make. So you have a few minutes to explore that, or you can always come right into your final resting pose. If you would like a suggestion, I'm going to go towards the couch and you might find a wall space in order to do figure four pose. So feel free to join me in figure four or something else of your choosing altogether. So for figure four, I'll put my feet up on the couch and kind of shimmy my way a little bit closer. You can extend both legs long and then bring your right ankle onto your left thigh and then start to draw the shape into the body. Traditionally, people do this without the support of the wall, and then they will oftentimes reach their hands behind the thigh, drawing the shape a little bit closer. And that can work too if you prefer. I kind of like it with the support of the couch or a wall if I had one handy, because then I can relax my whole upper body. Give yourself an opportunity to really treat yourself. This is your time. Even though we are carving out time for ourselves, it's important to remember that this time we give to ourselves is a benefit to us and all the people around us. Allow yourself to come back to your intention as you begin to slow your practice. If you're in your figure four pose, whenever you feel ready, you can stretch your legs long, maybe give them a little shake, and you could try the other side, bringing the left ankle onto the right thigh, drawing the shape into the body, either by pressing your foot onto support or maybe drawing the shape inward with your hands. You could start to tune your breath into those sensations, just noticing how is the left different than the right. Feel free to linger here as long as you would like. And then when you feel ready, you can make your way into your final resting pose. Thinking about any other movements you might like to make just to get any of that energy released. And then give yourself permission to cozy up. Maybe you take a bolster and you rest it underneath the knees. Or if you're cold, you might put on extra warmth, maybe a blanket over the body. Maybe you could rest something over the eyes to block out any light or turn down the lights. Getting ready for your Shavasana. And in the book by Deborah Adele, The Yamas and the Niyamas that I quoted earlier, she has a whole paragraph about Shavasana in terms of this last jewel, Ishvara Pranidhana. She says the yoga posture called Shavasana or corpse pose is a posture for practicing surrender. Putting ourselves on our backs with our arms and legs stretched out at 45-degree angles from the body signifies the death of the activity we have just participated in. It is also a practice for the ultimate surrender of our own death. In Shavasana, there is nothing for us to do. We are asked to just lie there, releasing any tension in our bodies, letting go of effort, and trusting that the breath will breathe us and the body will renew itself. This practice of Shavasana is one of the most important practices we can do. For it is here that we begin to learn the meaning of letting go of all the ways we physically and mentally fight with life. As we learn to stop fighting life, we can begin to act skillfully. Control makes us rigid and tight. and narrows our perspective. Getting rid of our armor opens a world of possibility. It makes us lighter and more comfortable for the journey. We can monitor our moment to moment surrender to life by watching the inner sensations of contraction and expansion. Contraction is a feeling of constriction, a pulling in. Expansion is opening, a creating of space and wonder. When we find ourselves in contraction, we are fighting life. We're fearful of life. When we find ourselves in expansion, we are in the flow of surrender. Our practice is to melt ourselves and become one with the flow of life. As we relax and release our rigid thoughts and muscles, we can begin to flow with life. Invite yourself to soften here, relaxing your forehead and your jaw. Allow yourself this moment of quiet to sink into the support of the earth and gravity's hug. Swami Rama used to say, "Do what is yours to do. Don't do what is not yours to do." How simple these words may sound to our ears, and yet they are profound to our understanding of surrender. As we are able to let go of what we can't change, we are able to grow more and more into our unique gifts and contribution to life itself. There is something that is ours to do, and whether it is large or small, it is our contribution to the whole of humanity. As we discern where our path lies, and then surrender to that awareness, we will begin to taste freedom and joy in a way we never dreamed possible. Allow yourself to reawaken your body by taking some nice deep breaths, maybe starting to wiggle your fingers and your toes. You might take a long body stretch, reaching your arms past your ears. And then you're welcome to roll onto one side and find a fetal position there. Whenever you feel ready, you can press yourself up into a seat. Maybe you invite your hands to meet at your heart center. You're welcome to allow your head to gently bow towards the wisdom of your loving heart. It's such an honor and a privilege to guide you through your practice. Thank you all so much for being here with me today. I hope you have a wonderful Saturday or Sunday, whatever actually day of the week it is for you.